Alright, so we finally made it to Wednesday's homework. We're going to talk about the constant rate of change. Remember, our formula for constant rate of change is the change of y, which is y2, minus y1, over the change of x, which is x2 minus x1. Alright, so here we need, once we plug in our numbers here, we can go ahead and find our constant rate of change. So it says to find the constant rate of change from the story problem, okay? So it says the cost of group museum tickets is $48 for 4 people and $7 for 10 people. The first thing we need to do here is figure out which numbers are representing our x and which numbers are representing our y. So, remember, we talked about dependent and independent in class. So we're going to put independent values, and then we're going to put dependent values, and we're abbreviating here. So we need to ask ourselves the question, does the people depend upon the costs, or is the cost dependent upon the number of people? Well, we know that the people can stand alone. So people should be the independent variable, and cost is always going to be dependent upon how many people go. So the cost would be the dependent. So remember, we also learned in class then that the independent is going to be represented by x, and the dependent is going to be represented by y. Okay, so I see that my first x, so the first number mentioned, it says the cost of group tickets is $48 for 4 people. So x1 would be my 4, because that's 4 people. I'm just setting this up so I can plug it into my formula. Then the cost for that, so we'll call that y1, was $48. Okay, now let's look at x1 and x2 and y2. So x2 then would be 10 people. And then y2 would be represented by $78. Alright, now that I have each part labeled, I'm going to go ahead and plug these numbers into my formula. So when I do that, I see the first thing I'm looking for is y2. So I see y2 right here, and I see that it's 78. So I'm going to plug in 78 into my formula. Then it says I should be subtracting y1. So I look for y1. y1 is right here, so I'm going to subtract 48. Follow my formula, put the line. Then I'm looking for x2. So I see that x2 is 10. And then the last piece of my formula is subtracting the x1. And I see x1 is 4. Okay, I'm going to erase this part so I can finish working it out. Hopefully you got it. If not, just rewind the video. Alright, now that I have my formula complete with numbers, I'm going to go ahead and work it out. I'm going to first work out the top part, which is the numerator. 78 minus 48, I know, is 30. Okay, 10 over 10 minus 4 is 6. I know that I can simplify this. I know that I can take this and divide both of them by 6. So I know 30 divided by 6 is 5, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. So the constant rate of change for this story problem is that basically you're spending $5 for one group. Or your constant rate of change is 5 over 1. Alright, go ahead and finish up the rest of tonight's homework and turn it in tomorrow.